cloudy start, and we are also tracking showers and even some thunderstorms as we head into the first part of the day here. It's a little bit of a surprise, I will say. Our models were not really in tune with this first round of rain for today, but as we head throughout the day, this will help us stay a little bit cooler than what we were previously expected to get to. So we're still sitting in the lower 80s for the moment right now for both Camp Mabry at 81, the airport at 83 degrees, very high dew points as well. Of course, it's raining. You can feel that humidity out there. So we have some scattered activity off to the east, and then we did have a larger complex of storms out to the west, but that has since, weakened, and really we're just looking at some light rainfall for Burnett County, pretty widespread as well, all the way from 29 all the way to 183 there. A couple of slight showers over towards the Fredericksburg, Enchanted Rock area, and then as we head over towards the I-35 corridor, looks mostly clear at the moment. A few rumbles of thunder a little bit earlier today. And then out towards the coastal plains, Giddings, Bastrop, and LaGrange, you're seeing some isolated to scattered shower and thunderstorm activity, a couple areas with some lightning. As for today's forecast, I do think this overcast morning is going to help us out with the heat this afternoon. I'm going to only go with about 89 degrees as we shift towards 4 p.m. So we're starting off with that rainy start, but unfortunately we do have some additional rain in the forecast after things clear out this afternoon. Here's a look at Tuesday's storm outlook. Of course, we do have that severe potential out for the hill country. That's going to happen overnight tonight, so I'll time that out for you guys here in just a little bit. And we're tracking storms overnight tonight. I'll let you know that exact timeline when I come back. News. We do still have a lot of clouds out there right now. Temperatures are in the lower 80s, and usually as we kind of head into noon here, most days if we're seeing sunshine, we're seeing mid 80s to even upper 80s by this time in the day. So I do think these clouds are going to help keep us a little bit cooler as we shift into our Tuesday here. So we're at 81 for Austin, most of the I-35 corridor in those lower 80s, and we've even got the 70s out towards the west end of the map. That's the area that saw most of our rain as we headed through this morning. Now all of that has pretty much dissipated. You can see up towards Burnett County, just a couple of showers over that way, but most of that region from Llano to Fredericksburg all the way out to Mason is now dry, but we also have some other areas of rainfall to watch. We've got some scattered thunderstorms, a couple instances of lightning. You can see that down to the south of LaGrange there, but very spotty, hit or miss as we kind of shift into the next couple of hours for the coastal plains there. And the I-35 corridor is pretty dry for the moment, just really noting those clouds overhead. Now for the state of Texas, we are the only people seeing a lot of rainfall right now, or the potential for some rainfall. Up towards Dallas, a few spots and sprinkles that way, and then down towards Corpus Christi, they're mostly seeing that scattered activity as well as some dense cloud cover too. So our next 6 hours as we head into this afternoon, we are expected to clear up a little bit, and that could help our temperatures rebound into the lower 90s for some of us, but I don't know, I don't think we're going to have enough time to really get to that 93 marker. I think we're likely going to be down towards 89 or near 90 degrees for this afternoon. Now our hourly rain chances, of course, we're anticipating additional showers and thunderstorms as we head into the night tonight. So we'll have some very minor chances as we head through about 2 to 6 p.m. and then overnight tonight we are going to watch those 20% chances rise up to about a 40 to 50% chance for some regions in our area. So again, by this afternoon we're seeing some clearer skies out there. That's going to help temperatures warm. It's going to be very sticky and humid out there this afternoon. By 2 a.m. we're watching areas of the hill country as a cold front is expected to approach our area and send some showers and thunderstorms our way. Now out towards the hill country, we are expecting the approach of those showers and thunderstorms to be a little bit more intense, potentially even severe. So we'll be watching those areas pretty intently. Again, this is going to be pretty much overnight activity. So into our very early Wednesday is when you need to be on alert. So have a way to get those alerts. Again, hill country Country, I-35 corridor is mostly what we're watching for wind and maybe the potential for some large hail too. All right, 7-day forecast as we head into the next couple of days. Be expecting those off and on rain chances. And then as we head towards the end of the week here, we've got 99, 29 is your time. So as we shift into the day today, you probably noticed when you woke up that it's a bit cloudy out there and even rainy for some of us. This is mostly affecting Austin and central Texas here. We've got some clouds moving over towards Corpus Christi and then also a couple of scattered showers up towards the Dallas area as we shift into noon today. Now a closer look at our radar, we did have some more significant showers and thunderstorms moving in from the hill country just a bit ago, but those have since really weakened and we're looking at very dry conditions from the hill country to the I-35 corridor. It's mostly the coastal plains that we're watching for scattered storm activity as we kind of shift into the next hour or so. But as we head into the afternoon, we are expected to see much more sunshine, get a little bit warmer out there, and of course, pretty humid. Now, talking about hot and humid and rainy conditions, we have our first tropical outlook issued of the season. Now, this is far and away from Texas, has nothing to do with Texas. This is a disturbance that's right off the south and east coast of South Florida there and expected to make its way up to the north, maybe affecting the coastal Carolinas region. Only a 10% chance of development over the next 2 to 7 days. So we're not thinking that this is really going to organize very quickly or anything like that. Probably going to be just something that has some tropical characteristics over the next couple of days. And speaking of tropical characteristics, we are tracking some Saharan dust, which could make for some hot and hazy conditions come this weekend. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. And of course, I mentioned hot. It is going to be hot this weekend. We'll have that temperature breakdown in just a few minutes as we head into the afternoon today, but I don't think that's going to help temperatures out too much. We're sitting in the lower 80s closer to the metro right now, but out towards the hill country, we're seeing 70s on the map, which will eventually warm up, but those 70s are about 10 to even 15 degrees cooler than where they were at this time yesterday. So a bit of a cool start for some of us. And of course, a little bit of a wet start. So we did see some showers and thunderstorms make their way into the hill country a little bit ago, but have since dissipated. And we're more so looking at some scattered showers and thunderstorms over towards the coastal plains right now, which are sort of on their way out. They've got a general northeast movement and are moving pretty fast at that as well. So what we are honing in on as for showers and thunderstorms, the potential for severe weather that is going to be overnight tonight out towards our hill country areas and then eventually weakening as it makes its way across the I-35 corridor and then goes down towards the San Antonio area. So shifting through the afternoon, we're going to see some warmer temperatures. Of course, about 90 to 91 is what I'm going for this afternoon. I don't think we're going to see too much more warming, not up to 95 or 96 or anything like that. And then as we shift overnight tonight, it's going to be previously, very hot and humid for the afternoon. And then as we head overnight tonight, 2 a.m., we'll start to watch those areas of the north and western hill country there for those showers and storms to make their way through. Now, we are expecting more intensity out towards the hill country areas, but of course, we also have the chance for rain and maybe some rumbles of thunder with that closer to the I-35 corridor, and it looks like our coastal plains regions will also get another shot at some rainfall overnight tonight. Now, with this cold front, yes, it is going to be cooling us down into the upper 80s and even low 90s for today and tomorrow, but you'll see that temperatures are really ramping up as we head towards the end of the week here. We do have high pressure and a lot of high pressure making its way towards our region as we head into the late week as well as the weekend here. And another thing we have to watch for is with that high pressure, we're going to heat things up. And then also this weekend, we're tracking plume of Saharan dust to move towards our area. So it's going to be hot and very dry out there and potentially very hazy as well. We also have our first tropical outlook of our hurricane season here. This is not affecting anything close to Texas here. It's mostly going to be off to the south and east of the Florida coast there. 10% chance of development over the next 2 to 7 days. So not really expecting much out of that. All right, the next 7 days, of course, we do have that chance for rain late this evening into overnight, early Wednesday morning as well. Eventually that goes away, that unsettled weather pattern, and we get into a more stable weather pattern. However, temperatures are going to take a rise as we head towards this next weekend. Be expecting those high is your time. So as we shift into the day today, you probably noticed when you woke up that it's a bit cloudy out there and even rainy for some of us. This is mostly affecting Austin and central Texas here. We've got some clouds moving over towards Corpus Christi, and then also a couple of scattered showers up towards the Dallas area as we shift into noon today. Now, a closer look at our radar. We did have some more significant showers and thunderstorms moving in from the hill country just a bit ago, but those have since really weakened, and we're looking at very dry conditions from the hill country to the I-35 corridor. It's mostly the coastal plains that we're watching for scattered storm activity as we kind of shift into the next hour or so. But as we head into the afternoon, we are expected to see much more sunshine, get a little bit warmer out there, and of course, pretty humid. Now, talking about hot and humid and rainy conditions, we have our first tropical outlook issued of the season. Now, this is far and away from Texas, has nothing to do with Texas. This is a disturbance that's right off the south and east coast of South Florida there, and expected to make its way up to the north, maybe affecting the coastal Carolinas region. Only a 10% chance of development over the next 2 to 7 days, so we're not thinking that this is really going to organize very quickly or anything like that. Probably going to be just something that has some tropical characteristics over the next couple of days. And speaking of tropical characteristics, we are tracking some Saharan dust, which could make for some hot and hazy conditions come this weekend. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. And of course, I mentioned hot. It is going to be hot this weekend. We'll have that temperature breakdown, Saharan dust, as well as some humidity out there as well. We've got kind of a mix of conditions right now. It won't be until this next upcoming weekend that we see a little bit more density in that next plume of Saharan dust. And I do think that will cause some really hazy conditions for us here in central Texas. So we're tracking Saharan dust. We're also tracking storms as we head overnight tonight. We're now seeing increasing confidence that we'll likely see that from about 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. And of course, we've got some heat on the way. Looks really nice across Austin right now. We've got some clouds moving in this afternoon. And I did think that some of our cloud cover and rain from earlier today was going to, help cool our temperatures just a little bit. But we've gotten up to 91 for Camp Mabry, 93 out at the airport right now. Dew points at 72. So it still is a little bit sticky out there, even with a little bit of that dust across central Texas. Now, we do have a severe thunderstorm watch up on the north side of the state. We've got a cold front that we are anticipating as we head into early tomorrow morning. This is likely to spark some of those storms we were talking about, and we do have the potential, but that some of those could be strong to even severe. So we'll get to those details when I come. Temperatures at 91 for Austin, not too bad there. 98 for 89 rather for Bastrop. 89 also out towards Fayette County, and we've got some 80s off towards the hill country as well, which is good to note. I do think that some of that cloud cover from earlier today helped us out with our afternoon temperatures. However, those feels like temps in some places are still very high. Bastrop, of course, we're looking at you, LaGrange, 107 for those feels like temperatures. Also feels like 103 down in San Marcos. So looking across the state, of course, our radar here in Austin is pretty much dry as we look towards about 4 or 5 p.m. However, if you look up towards the north end of the state, we do have a severe thunderstorm watch in place and a cold front. You can see that cold front streaming down all the way to the north of Lubbock there. And then we've got our dry line also to the south there. Now, this is what is going to spark showers and storms in our area as we head overnight tonight and into early Wednesday morning. So here's what we're looking at timeline wise. 2 a.m. for early Wednesday morning. Again, overnight, this will start to inch into the hill country there. And then between about 4 a.m. 5 a.m. is when most of those areas in the hill country will be experiencing some sort of shower or thunderstorm out there. And this is also going to be west to east oriented, which is a little bit weird because usually we're looking north to south oriented storms. So it's going going to pass through and pass south of us as we head into 6, 7, and 8 a.m. And then most of us should be pretty dry as we head towards 9 and 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. So we've shifted our forecast a little bit with that timeline. So mainly 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. for our Wednesday. Hill country and I-35 portions of the corridor there, mostly those northern ends. All of our threats are there too. Wind, hail, as well as isolated tornadoes. So please make sure that you have a way to get alerts, especially because these are overnight storms, early morning storms. Many people will be asleep when this happens. Out towards the hill countries where we're looking at the potential for higher severe weather risks, mainly going to be that wind as well as hail. Now, after all of the severe weather, or potential for severe weather, that is, we are watching the west for this high pressure dome to work its way back over central Texas here in the end of the week. Now, with that high pressure dome, we're also going to be tracking Saharan dust. We were talking about that just a little bit ago. We have some dust in our area right now. However, a more dense plume is expected as we head into the latter half of the week. You can see the Texas coastline certainly expected to be impacted by that. Here in central Texas, we'll probably see some hazy conditions as well, and the mixture of those hot conditions too. So looking into Saturday and Sunday of this next